There we go.
Okay, welcome to the Solano County Democratic Central Committee monthly meeting. So it's nice to see everyone, and we've decided that we're going to keep everyone on mute. So if you have something to say, you type it in the chat, and we have two vice chairs who will read it. Do we have any guests this evening that we can? I know we have Sharon Henry. Do we have any other guests? You put your name in the chat. Oh, Doug Jones is a guest. Welcome, Doug. Jennifer Barton is a guest. Welcome, Jennifer. Any other guests? Well, welcome everyone. We're going to move to the land acknowledgement, and I'm going to ask Vice Chair Vernile Brumfield to read it.
Yes, land acknowledgement. We pause to acknowledge that Solano County Democratic Central Committee of the Democratic Party sits on the land of the Miwok and Patwin people. We remember their continued connection to this region and give thanks to them for allowing us to live, work, learn, and pray in their traditional homeland. We offer our respect to their elders and the Miwok and Patwin people of the past and present. Is there more?
Thank you.
Nope.
Okay.
Thank you, Vernile.
Okay, you're welcome.
And do we have a quorum?
Yes, we do.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Oh, I forgot to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Let's move to the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, someday.
Thank you. And we've had a determination of a quorum, so we're going to move to approving the agenda for this evening.
I make a motion that we approve the agenda.
Someone
This is
could-
Tiffany.
Yeah.
Second.
So it's been moved and seconded that we approve the agenda.
Recording in progress.
Everyone had a chance to vote. Looks like have approval of the agenda.
I will end it at the minute mark.
Okay.
The agenda passed.
The agenda is approved. We're going to move to the minutes from last month. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the minutes. Oh, it looks like there was a correction. Was there a correction?
Paula asked if the word contingents get fixed in the minutes, so we can do an amendment, Madam Chair.
Okay. Approve of the minutes with the correction of a spelling error.
Steve, do you accept? Steve Young, do you
Yes.
accept? Amendment?
I thought I voted, did I not?
No, because there was a change.
Oh,
So
Why
do you
don't you-
accept that amendment to your motion?
yeah, that's fine.
And as the seconder on that, I accept. We will relaunch the minutes. I mean, the vote. While people are voting on this, just a bit of housekeeping. If you are voting on your phone or some other mobile device, you need to make sure you click the submit button once you choose your option.
Oh, that's been a minute.
Yep.
So the minutes are approved.
Mhm.
And we're going to move to a new business, candidate interviews. And I'm going to pass the meeting to Don Lowry, the chair of the endorsement committee. He's going to explain the process and introduce the candidates.
Thank you, Margie. We, as we do with every cycle, we sent out a questionnaire after having it approved last month to all identified Democrats who were running for office. 3 of the candidates responded and are with us this evening. They are, in order of appearance, Sharon Henry, Jennifer Barton, and Wanda Williams. The ground rules we have adopted for this evening: when one candidate is being interviewed, the other 2 will be in the waiting room. The candidates will be heard in the order their questionnaire was received. Each candidate will be allotted a total of 15 minutes, divided as follows: a 2-minute opening statement, up to 12 minutes for responding to questions with a 90-second limit on each answer, and a 1-minute closing statement. The questions are to be submitted via chat to be read by our moderators, our 2 vice chairs, in the order they are received. After the interviews have been conducted, the membership will vote on endorsements in each race, and it requires a majority, 50% plus 1, of all members present and voting. So with that, if Tom, if you would move our other 2 candidates to the waiting room so that we can focus on Ms. Henry.
Yep.
Okay, they look to be moved. So with that, Ms. Henry, you are on. As soon as you begin speaking, well, Tom will start the timer for you.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me here tonight. It's a pleasure, it's an honor to be before you, my fellow Democrats, in seeking this very important endorsement in the race for district attorney. I am a 34-year prosecutor. 19 of those years have been in a leadership role. I am by far the most qualified candidate in this race. You know, I grew up in a very small town with small town values and the values of my parents that they set, not only as people of faith, but also as longtime Democrats themselves. And so I learned a long time ago that fairness and truth, courage and strength, a pursuit of justice, not just for some, but for all, is paramount. And I found myself, after graduating from law school and passing the bar, as a prosecutor. And as an African-American woman, I am actually very rare, you know, in the world of prosecution. And I take my job very seriously. I always have. And I believe that the district attorney in every county in this state is the gatekeeper to criminal justice, to the criminal justice system. And it's imperative that this gatekeeper is fair, is neutral, independent, and someone who seeks justice for all, equal justice for all. And so as a result of that, the district attorney needs to be independent. And that's important because as the gatekeeper, you know, we cannot be beholden to one particular group of people. We cannot be beholden to law enforcement when the time comes to make those decisions, to hold law enforcement accountable. Now, I, as a 34-year prosecutor, have built very.
Ms. Henry, your time is up for your.
Oh, I thought it was 2 minutes.
That was 2 minutes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Sorry about that.
It went by really fast.
Okay, Don.
Okay, we'll turn it over to our two vice chairs for reading the questions in chat as they have been received.
So the first question that I received via chat was for Ms. Henry. Would you support a comprehensive review of past cases handled by the DA's office for evidence of police/prosecutorial misconduct or systemic bias?
I absolutely would. I believe that inherent in our system is, you know, racial inequities and inequities based upon other protected class of people. And so if I at any time become aware of cases that were not judged appropriately, then those cases will be reviewed with a fresh eye and a fresh eye towards justice. And my guiding principle in reviewing those cases is if the law, and based upon the law and the evidence, and if the evidence proves beyond a reasonable doubt that a certain individual should be charged, then that appropriate filing decision will be made. Now, sometimes, you know, there have been cases that should not have been filed. And so it is my intent to establish an integrity unit, both post-conviction and current pending prosecutions. I think it's important that we as prosecutors are doing our job in a way that builds public trust. And so if there are ever any cases in the system, and we've done it before, I've done it before. I've reviewed cases where filing decisions were not made, the cases were not filed, and we have, reviewed those with a fresh eye and a fresh eye towards justice. That is what I believe in, and I think a prosecution integrity unit is absolutely imperative in a DA's office.
The next question I see says, you probably cannot comment on pending litigation, but are you aware of the badge bending issue in Vallejo? And is there anything the DA's office can do to help us with this?
Right. So as an officer of the court, I am bound by ethical obligations and as a prosecutor not to comment on pending prosecutions. That would be a violation of my ethics and professional responsibility. As a citizen, I was appalled by that practice. And so I believe that whenever the district attorney's office becomes aware of such practices, we have a duty and an obligation to conduct our own investigation. Why? Because we have to know that the people that we're calling to the witness stands, the people that we're relying on in reviewing those reports, are people of honesty and integrity and people that we can take before the jury and to say this person should be believed. So in order for us to do that, we have to whenever we are aware of and become aware of such instances, I believe that the district attorney's office has a duty to investigate those issues.
Thank you. The next question, how do you plan on increasing diversity in the DA's office?
Yes, that's a very important priority that I have that I will implement when if I become district attorney. And so what I will do is to actively recruit, go out to various law schools, recruit amongst the various bar associations, for example, the Latino Bar Association, African American Bar Association, so forth and so on, Asian American, to take an active role, not only in the college and law school level, but also the high school level. I want to establish a mentorship so we're out there. And I think that having more people like me and more people like other attorneys in our office who represent diverse backgrounds is crucial. So we will have an active, very vibrant recruiting process so that we can look for qualified people of color. It's important to bring in people from various backgrounds, to a district attorney's office to offer something that perhaps a person, not of color would never have thought of. So it's important to have that basic recruiting process going on in a DA's office. And I want to bring that to Solano County.
What is your plan on data collection regarding the disproportionality of arrests and Black and Latinos in this county?
So I think it's important that the district attorney's office keeps track of that data. And so again, some people, I know that there's some people who believe that, why should we do that? And those are the people who are not really aware or do not really understand about the implicit biases that go on in the criminal justice system. So I want to make sure that we are seeking equal justice for all. And in order to do that, the district attorney's office needs to be aware of who we are prosecuting. Are we prosecuting one group more than another? If we are, we have to understand, well, what's going on? What's going on? Why is it so out of proportion? So I will make sure that we are keeping stats on that. The public has a right to know. The public has an absolute right to know. The other day I was in court and I was waiting for a case to be called, and for my case to be called, and every defendant who was held in custody who came out was a young African-American man. And, it didn't sit right with me. And that's not to say that, these people did not commit crimes, but we have to take a look at what is going on, and are we considering those social justice or social inequities that cause certain people, to be involved in the criminal justice system. And so I think data collection is absolutely important, because that's how we're going to acknowledge and then try and address and then fix the problem.
Okay.
There's another question in the chat. How would you ensure that stats regarding hate crimes, specifically against the LGBTQ community, is tracked correctly?
Oh yeah, so yes, that's like the previous question, right? We have to keep track of certain types of crime, certain types of demographics, in order to address those issues. Hate crimes against any individual, regardless, whether it's based upon race, sexual orientation, sexual preference, whatever that is, has to be tracked in order for us to properly deal with the situation. As a DA, we have an obligation to be out there in the community to making these issues aware to the public, so that we as a community, with the help of the district attorney's office, can address these issues. So I want to sit down with my management team, if I'm elected and after I'm elected, to come up with a system where we are keeping track of these various crimes, like hate crimes, as well as domestic violence and other issues that ravage our communities.
I don't see.
There was another question from another member of the committee. How is it possible to both hold law enforcement officers accountable for misconduct while still maintaining the work relationship you need to prosecute other cases?
Yeah, it's very possible. There are so many good police officers who are in it for the right reason, to serve the public. And they have a very, dangerous job, right? They put their lives on risk every single day. I truly support our officers. Having said that, there are times where we see that officers, break the law, engage in misconduct. And if that misconduct is in violation of a criminal law, criminal statute, then we have an obligation. The people that I know, good officers, qualified officers, are appalled themselves at that some of the abuses and the excessive force that other law enforcement officers engage in. And, they don't want them in the force either. You know what I mean? So we have to, it is so possible. It's possible to respect officers and then to hold other officers accountable for breaking the law, because no one is above the law. Absolutely no one is above the law. And a lot of good officers believe that. And I've been working closely with law enforcement for 34 years as partners in the criminal justice system. And I will continue to do that, and to point out and to, prosecute, hold all people accountable for breaking the law if we can meet our burden of proof.
Okay.
We have another
30 seconds.
Yes, we have another 2 questions. Will you be accepting donations from policing organizations, or would you consider it ethically ambiguous because of your work ethics, your work with officers?
I would not accept any donations, any monetary donations from any police officer associations. I think there, whether there's a conflict, an actual conflict or not, for me, that doesn't really matter. It's the appearance of impropriety that I feel anybody would be crossing that line. That's not to say that this particular candidate would be beholden to them, but it's the appearance of it. And I am a firm believer that the appearance of impropriety is basically fosters a lack of public trust. And it's something that I just don't feel comfortable in doing and would not do.
Right. I think we are beyond our 12 minutes, so let's do our 1 minute closing statement, please.
So thank you so much again. And, you know, I would love the opportunity to have the endorsement of the Central Democratic Central Committee. It is important to have a DA who is going to stand up for what is right. And I've been standing up for what is right for 34 years. I have mentored, supervised, managed many attorneys who have come under my tutelage and mentorship. And I want to bring all of my experience to this county to make you proud of the district attorney's office, to have someone there who acknowledges that we are not perfect, but we, in the pursuit of justice, have to bring justice for all. And also, I want to uphold victims' rights. I see that we are trampling on those rights, and victims are not being considered. And so I want the opportunity to do this job, to do it well, to do it fairly, to do it honestly, and you know, to work with the community. I think that is also important, to bring out and to bring our community to a level where it should be. We are
I
going
think we're
back.
at our 1 minute.
Go
So
forward.
thank you so
Sorry.
much. We appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
And we will transition to our next candidate.
Should I hang around or am I free to leave?
You are free to leave, or if you wish to hang in the waiting room until we
Okay.
are able to provide the results, you can do so. But
Okay, great. I will wait. Thank you so much.
Don, who do I need to bring in?
Jennifer Barton is next. And,
She is in the room.
okay. Just trying to pull up the thing. Okay, Jennifer, you're with us. You have 2 minutes for an opening statement, followed by, again, up to the 12 minutes for questions afterwards. So as soon as you begin speaking, Tom will begin timing you.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for everything that you each do to strengthen our democratic values here in Solano County. It's very much appreciated. And thank you for your time this evening. Over the last 30 years, it has been my joy to serve Solano County. I have fought fiercely for our community as a Democratic volunteer, with many of you here in the room tonight, so to speak, in the room, as staff for state and federal Democratic elected officials, and as a volunteer for many nonprofits. It would be my honor to continue to serve as your next supervisor for District 3. My priorities include affordable housing and a genuine solution to the growing number of homeless. Matter of fact, yesterday I was at Solano Shelter Solano, and had a briefing about the programs and their construction that's going on out there. And it was fascinating and interesting and sad, as you can imagine. We still have a lot of work to do, but I can't wait to roll up my sleeves and get that work done. I also want to continue to help navigate Solano's transportation needs while at the same time preserving our local agriculture, which is so important to me, and protecting our waterways. I want to strengthen our social safety net while being fiscally responsible, and I want to continue to support our families as we recover from the pandemic. We need a supervisor that knows how to work with the decision makers at every level of government to secure resources, someone who can bring partners to the table and make sure that every dollar is wisely spent. I will be that supervisor. And I ask for your endorsement today. I ask for your vote on the ballot and your partnership once elected. And I just have news. I was just texted 10 minutes ago that I've just received the endorsement of Assemblywoman Cecilia Aguilar Curry which is thrilling to me. I have a lot of respect for her. So thank you very much.
Ready for the questions?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, bring them on.
Don, we're ready?
Yes,
Okay.
let's go ahead and then begin the questions. And since
Okay.
we were having a timing issue last time, we'll be just counting the overall time, though we do encourage you to try to stick to 90-second responses for each question.
Okay, Madam Northern Vice Chair, there are 2 questions that came in via direct message. I would like to read those before the ones that appear in the chat for the public to see, if that's okay with you.
Sure, go ahead, yes.
So the first question for you, Jennifer, is do you support or oppose efforts to develop agricultural and open space land in and around Green Valley and Sassoon Valley for non-agricultural use?
Well, when I was on the Planning Commission, we created and worked on the Green Valley Plan, Central Green Valley Plan. And the thought behind that was, much like Helen Thompson used to say, is if you don't have a plan, that is a plan. So we do have a plan there. And what I'm hearing and seeing is it needs to be tweaked a bit, because we want to keep that as agriculturally focused as we can. But it's also very important for both Sassoon Valley and Green Valley to have the agricultural tourism, because that will help sustain that agriculture.
Madam Vice Chair, you can ask the question.
Okay,
The
okay.
one retracted.
Okay. You accepted the endorsement of Fairfield Councilwoman Kat Moy, who in 2020 described local community activists, the Fairfield Change, as BLM, Antifa, Marxist thugs. Do you agree with this statement? And why did you accept her endorsement?
I absolutely do not agree with that statement. Councilmember Moy, much like other elected officials in the county and in each of our cities, are definitely nonpartisan. If I'm going to win this race, if we are going to win this to make sure that we have that 3-majority vote, we are going to have to get votes from a wide variety of our community members. So I can work with anybody and everybody to make sure that we get our democratic values met and that we can move them forward. That's how I think. I grew up with Republicans. All my family were Republicans. My dad at one point said, "What happened to you?" So, I work with everybody across the board.
Okay. Who are you supporting in the DA's race?
Well, I'm concentrated on my race right now. Before I jumped into the race, I did endorse Superintendent Lisette Henderson. I'm missing her middle name there. I'm blanking out for just a minute, but I haven't been endorsing anybody else in any other races. I'm concentrating on my race right now.
Would you support flying the LGBTQ pride flag for a whole month of June?
Oh, I would love to. That would be great. Absolutely. I've always, all my roommates in San Francisco, when I went to school at San Francisco State, were LGBTQ plus. So bring it on.
And what, in your opinion, is causing the homeless crisis?
Well, that's a combination of many things. I think certainly we need more affordable housing, and that's what I would work on as hard as I could to make sure that we've got a variety of housing for everybody. Certainly we need to also invest in our mental health and make sure that we have mental health resources for folks. And, it's a combination of all of that. And also, I don't believe that we have worked together or collaborated together to help solve this issue. So I look forward to working with the county and the cities, and also regionally. I don't think we can just do Solano County, much like we can't just have each city, taking the homeless from city to city. We can't do that from county to county either. So I really do look forward to working on this issue love to get my teeth into it and move that bar a little bit.
Okay, quite a few questions are coming in. Let me go back.
Sorry, I have the next question. Let
Okay,
me catch up,
all right.
Madam Vice Chair. It says, the next question is, why are you willing to compromise your values to work with racists and Republicans? Yeah, racists and Republicans.
Well, I don't know if I don't think I'm changing my values at all. I think I'm keeping my values and to find those places that we can work on together, which I think could be homeless, could be those different issues that we need to make sure we come together on that aren't Republican or Democrat.
Okay. Next question. The public health officer in Solano County never recommended mask mandates. Solano County has one of the highest COVID rates in the state. What would you do if there is another surge?
Well, if I were on the Board of Supervisors, I mean, individually, I support all of the vaccines and volunteered at one of the actually several vaccine clinics. Once with NAACP, twice with NAACP, and then once with the county. I would encourage masking and, making sure that we keep our masks going and working on the vaccine and educating folks on getting the vaccine.
Okay. Do you support Solano County proposal for a sales tax paid by all county residents to support independent fire districts that serve only unincorporated county areas?
Well, I'll tell you what, while the fire was in Paradise Valley and it didn't get as far as I was packed up and ready to go. Of course, everyone who called me was worried about me. I said, if it gets to me, we're all in trouble in Fairfield. But it was very scary and very frightening. I think we saw that we really dodged a bullet with the fires that we had so far. And luckily we had good support from our public safety folks. And after the fire, I also served on the Travis Credit Union Foundation's fund. We gave out $100,000 to the LNU fire victims. So I heard every single one of their stories. And as I was talking to different fire chiefs about the LNU fire, if it had gone down that valley any further, it would have hit Vacaville and burnt Vacaville. So while we're saying it's the unincorporated area, we are thankfully surrounded by open space and unincorporated area, which we want to keep. So yes, I think we all need to make sure that we're doing that fire protection. I have also talked to the fire chiefs about making sure that they're at the table, and it's going to be a long process, I think. Although I know we want it to be sooner than later, but we need to address this, and we need to address it now because, the rain's not coming. We need to be ready for it. So yes.
Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson has been raked through the coals by Republican senators over the past 2 days. How do you feel about the treatment of women by male elected officials on the state and local levels?
Oof, that's a big question. I was listening to those hearings, and I'll tell you, that woman is smart as a whip. As a matter of fact, this morning I was thinking, boy, I hope they're not as tough on me tonight as they have been on her, because it was pretty awful. And I'm just looking forward to her getting in, because I think she'll be such an excellent Supreme Court justice. And I think it just depends on the situation. Certainly with the Me Too movement that was very prevalent in the Capitol. And I started there many, many years ago and could tell a few stories as well. So I've been very supportive of the Me Too movement and making sure that we can try and change that culture, because it's abhorrent. Nobody wants to see it. No one wants to be treated that way. So we have more work to do there too, which is one of the reasons why I was really proud to work with a group of women to start the Solano Commission for Women and Girls. I think that with the report they put out around what we need to look at, changes that need to be made, I think that will help move things along as well. It's a great organization, and they're having a Women's History Month event on Saturday. If you check their webpage, you can click in and listen to it.
Would you work to keep oil and gas drilling out of the Sassoon Marsh?
Absolutely, positively. That Sassoon Marsh is a treasure, and thank goodness that Assemblymember Tom Hannigan wrote the legislation to protect it.
Okay. We have a couple, do we have time? We have a couple more questions. You said that you personally support wearing masks. Oh, it keeps jumping. I'm sorry. But the question is, as a supervisor, would you vote to require masks in the event of another surge?
Well, I wouldn't mind. I don't know if I could say I would do that or not, but I wouldn't mind doing that. I would love everyone to wear a mask. Can we? Can we require that? I think it comes from the state and the county, but I wouldn't mind if we all wore masks, I'll tell you that.
How do you plan on reaching out to communities of color?
Well, I'm a member of the Solano County Black Chamber, Solano County Hispanic Chamber. Certainly would be planning on attending events to talk to folks there. I just posted on my my campaign webpage a really fun little video of some friends of mine who were very kind to come and do a little support video in Spanish for me. And certainly my NAACP friends, I would talk to them and their friends. And I do plan on having many, you know, meet with Jennifer, come and talk, come and share your experiences. And so I would be reaching out to all of those communities as much as I could.
Okay. Do you really not know whether the county can require mask wearing? All 8 other counties require them.
Well, I know that the public health director can. Thank you, Mr. Young, for that question.
All right, I don't see any other questions in the chat with 15 seconds remaining. So unless something popped up, we'll turn it back to our chair, Don Lowry.
All right. I think we'll assume that the last question can't be asked if there is one, and move into our 1-minute closing statement.
So I want to thank you all again for your time this evening. As I have for my entire career and all of my volunteer activities, I've just effectively fight for every family and uphold our democratic values on that board as we seek to get a 3 vote majority. That's what's important here right now. This is one of the most important elections that we've had on the Board of Supervisors for years. And I just want you to take that back as you're talking and discussing this, because the strategy around electing someone to this seat is going to take every bit that we have to get that person in, and it's expensive. In the last 6 months, 6 weeks, I've raised $50,000. I have a cadre of volunteers. We're walking on the weekends. I'm just ready to go and get this done. I know how to do it, both on the policy level and on the campaign level. I think I'm that best candidate for us to get on that Board of Supervisors and to get on the majority. And I want to fight for you on the Solano County Board of Supervisors. I ask for your endorsement and would very much appreciate your support.
All right, thank you.
Thank you all very much.
And with that, Tom, if you'll do the switcheroo for our next candidate and bring her in. Okay, looks like she's in the room.
Yes, sorry, I did not realize I was choosing them.
All right, so Ms. Williams, you have 2 minutes for your opening statement. As soon as you begin speaking, Tom will begin the timer.
Thank you very much. And thank you for this opportunity to come before you this evening. My name is Wanda Williams. I'm running for Solano County Supervisor, District 3. I'm a mother, wife, and a lifelong Democrat. I'm running for Solano County Supervisor because I am the champion for the people. I'm here to advocate for those that can't advocate for themselves. I will be focusing on making sure that we focus and develop a regional approach for homelessness. And in addition to that, we're also looking at creating ways in which we can increase our broadband internet services for our underserved communities. I will also be preserving our open spaces, farmlands, and Travis Air Force Base, which is part of our economic engine. So I'm asking for your endorsement today because I am the candidate that will focus on bringing forth our democratic values as I serve as your Solano County Supervisor. Do I still have more time?
You have 40 seconds.
Oh, so well, once again, I am thankful for this opportunity, and thank you so much for giving me this chance to share with you my goals, my vision, and platform to increase and improve our district and our county. Thank you.
All right, with that, we will jump into the questions to be asked by our two vice chairs. Reminder to everyone, submit them in the chat for them to be read.
All right, the first question we have is was asked of both. It's going to be asked of both candidates. We already asked the previous candidate this question. So the question is, do you support or oppose efforts to develop agricultural and open space land in and around Green Valley and Sassoon Valley for non-agricultural use?
Well, first and foremost, I actually work for Solano Land Trust as a project manager. And one of the things that we have to make sure that we do for our county is understand how agriculture also plays a significant component in our community. Our agriculture right now produces, the bulk of the tomatoes for our state, also our green leafy vegetables, and so much more. So preserving our spaces is very important that we do that. It's also important that we work with our farmers to make sure that as we are looking at these different areas, especially the Green Valley, Central Green Valley, and with Sassoon Valley, that we're very much so working with them to make sure that we're not taking out soil that is considered prime soil. So there is a balance to be had, but to do that, it means you need to work with those that are already living in those areas and understand the complexity of what our agriculture brings to our community. But when there are opportunities for us to utilize land like that, for an example, soil that is not considered top rate. So if it's soil that's like lower than 5, that can't be used for agricultural anyway. So then the community will be more inclined to work with the Board of Supervisors in order to, if there is expansion that needs to be done. But it has to be a collaborative effort that we're working together. Thank you.
Would you support flying the LGBTQ plus pride flag for the entire month of June at county buildings?
Of course. I mean, currently in the city I serve in right now as an elected official, our flag is on display all year round. So it's not something that I would ever oppose.
Okay.
How can the county better serve the unhoused population? Oh, why does this keep jumping?
Got it, Madam Vice Chair?
No, go ahead and ask your question.
Okay. How can the county better serve the unhoused population, and what do you believe is causing the crisis?
Well, first and foremost, one of the issues, and just as elected official that I have learned since I've been elected, that we can't work in silos. And so cities have been trying to tackle these issues on their own. In reference to the county has to work with other cities. We have to work collectively and collaboratively to come up with the best solutions to help the unhoused. If we continue in the direction that we're going, it's not going to work. Now, in 2019, I put together what's called the Coalition of Council Members. I started then meeting with council members throughout the county to talk about how can we address these issues. Now that we have the 2x2, which is a great start, but it's important that we continue to work on these things and build these things out. One of the things that the county can really do is really help support our communities. And even right now, since homelessness has turned into, in a sense, a business. So right now you have to pay for bids. Right now the county has so many bids that they have allocated and put aside. But one of the things that has been occurring is that when other cities need more bids, unfortunately these bids are frozen and no one could use them. We need to be able to open those up when other cities are in need, to make sure that we're helping the unhoused. And in addition, we can continue to build up. Did you say stop?
Yeah, that's.
Oh, okay. All right, sorry. I just heard you and I was just on a roll.
It's okay. Our county health director has not been willing to require mandatory mask mandates unless it was required by the governor. Would you be willing to vote for mandatory mask mandates for Solano County if a major outbreak returns?
Well, first and foremost, I am a strong supporter of wearing masks. I actually created the Go Yellow Mask Initiative during the pandemic to encourage everyone to wear their mask. And actually, by doing so, to help us at that time during the height of the pandemic, let's try to get to the yellow. So yeah, I definitely will be supporting a mask mandate. I think that is important, and I'll tell you why. Because when we wear our masks, we are actually not only taking care of ourselves, but we allow for businesses to stay open because we can continue to shop. We don't have to keep worrying about another shutdown. We can just continue moving forward and progressing to get businesses back on track, the county back on track, and people back to their jobs. So it's just imperative that we make those stands, stand up for what it's going to be, make sense, follow the science in reference to these issues, but definitely support mask wearing.
How do you plan on accessing state and federal funds for Solano County?
Well, first and foremost, it's really working with lawmakers up at the state capitol, working with them to make sure that we get those dollars, and also making sure we have grant writers on our teams to make sure that when there's grants that we need to go after and get, that our staff have the capability of doing that. So there are dollars that we have to just continue to seek and work to get. But in order to do that, we have to write grants and request those dollars to come down. Two, also work with other lawmakers to get them to pass certain legislation that is beneficial for our county. And it's for resources and its abilities to stay sustainable, and also offer the services that we need in order to make sure everyone here in Solano County has the best quality of life. But in order to do that, we have to be able to work with everyone across different areas. And that even includes working with cities to make sure that they're going after these grant dollars as well. So it's really about working collaboratively in order to bring those dollars into our county.
Would you work to keep soil and gas drilling out of the Solano Sassoon Marsh. I got.
Well, I immediately wrote a letter in opposition of that immediately. When it first was made mention, which was last year, by Overland Grove Committee and the Sierra Club, all brought that to our attention. And so I do not believe that we should be doing fracking out there in the marsh. We have to protect our marsh for several different reasons. The marsh is the last brackish marsh in our area. And actually, to be honest with you, and I get to brag a little bit about my city that I've served in, but through Sassoon City is how you get to the bay. That's how everything flows out into the bay. It's also important for our fowl, our fish, and just the ecology in our area, which is so robust. So I'm definitely against that happening in the Sassoon Marsh. I do oppose.
I see no other questions in the chat or sent to me directly. Do you see anything, Madam?
No, I don't. No.
Okay, back to your hands, Chair.
All right, and then with that, we go to your 1 minute closing response.
Well, again, thank you. I was a little nervous in the beginning, but just to recap and just let you know why I'm running. I'm running for Solano County Supervisor because I am the candidate that's going to get the work done. I am the champion for the people. I really care about the community that I serve and Solano County as a whole. And as I continue to create policies and procedures policies in my own city, I plan to take that same tenacity and resiliency and thoughtfulness into the county as well. I'm going to be really focusing on preserving our Travis Air Force Base. It's one of our economic engines. And in regards to revitalizing our community, I'm really looking to put in place opportunities where we can start having business loans for our community as we rebound, and make sure we're attracting good paying jobs as well. We need to also continue to invest in our workforce development to improve our workforce. We have to also continue to focus on homelessness and workforce development. Oh, did you say time?
Yeah, sounds like it is.
Okay. Well,
right.
Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you for coming in, and we appreciate the time you've given us. And with that, I'll hand it back over to our chair.
Okay, so the next thing on the agenda is the vote.
Okay, what I would like to do, just to ensure that only the people that can vote is voting, is all of the people who are here as guests that are not voting members tonight. I will be putting you into the waiting room and then bringing you back in. Just so you know, just checking one thing. Yeah, Dr. Bonnie's here. Okay, so you will come back in just a moment, okay? Hold on, everyone else, while I do this.
Quick question, just for everyone to know, I'm asking a question. If the alternate is here of the voting member, do they get a vote? That's a question. No.
If the member is not here.
If the member, okay, I just want to make sure that's very clear. If the member is not here, then the alternate can vote in the member's place. But
Yes.
If the member and the alternate are both here, y'all need to duke it out and figure out who's going to cast the vote. We can't have.
No, actually, the bylaws are specific. It's the member that votes, not the alternate.
Okay, I just want to make sure that they know.
Yeah. Okay. It is just voting people. Tiffany, if you can look at the participants and make sure I didn't miss anyone. Looks like I got everyone with a V.
Yes, it looks like we got everybody today.
All right. Okay, here comes the
Just a
poll.
second, can I speak? Is Steve Federley, are you Bonnie's? Because Steve was here and Bonnie's here.
Yeah, and I put Steve in the waiting room.
Okay.
I see him on my screen.
You can't see Steve on your screen. Where is
He's on my screen.
Do you see him?
Yes?
I'm
still here.
I see him.
Yeah.
Okay, Steve, so you are Bonnie's?
Right, and she's here.
Yeah, so we need to put you in the waiting room. Sorry, thank you for that. He did not have a V in front of his name before I started that operation.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have one question. Did the secretary receive anything from Kevin McNamara? He notified me he was going to be naming a new alternate, but I didn't see anything in writing.
Jeanette, you're on mute.
But Kevin is here, right?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, you're
Right,
there.
so it doesn't
Okay.
matter. So his
Okay,
alternate
all right.
is here, but I have not received anything, but Kevin is in the room.
Okay. All right. Didn't see him.
All right, here we go, folks. All right. Find the poll. And just a reminder, if you are voting on a phone, you have got to click the submit. For your vote to be counted.
Bilbo, it's Quinlan. Did you get my vote?
Did you use the poll? I can't see it. I mean, I can only see like aggregate. I can't see individual votes.
So one more question, is Cassandra James in the voting group?
She is here for Sankofa, I believe.
And Kofa.
Thank you.
Right, but she's the person, so she should be voting.
Yes.
Because I don't see Gethsemane.
And she's the person for them.
Where's she at?
I don't see her in here, so I didn't know.
I'm right here.
Okay,
So
great.
I'm the alternate. Thank you.
Okay, great.
Sing out, Louise. Sorry. I think everything's a little bit another direction.
I got it.
All right, we have been 2 minutes. I'm gonna shut it down. Okay, I will share the results, but the results will not show vote totals, only percentages. So you can see. So, Madam Chair, do you want to read the results?
Okay, the results are Sharon Henry gets the endorsement and Wanda Williams gets the endorsement of the Solano County Democratic Central Committee.
Okay.
And we have wonderful candidates. I'm so proud of Democrats that step up. And now we'll work to get them elected.
Okay, so I'm going to bring everyone that's in the waiting room back in. And then if you want to announce it, you and Don, I'm going to zip it.
Oh, to the candidates?
There's
Or to everyone, that's right. They didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Is everyone
Everyone
back?
on the-
Dawn, do you want to make the announcement?
Okay, the Central Committee has voted to endorse Sharon Henry for District Attorney and Wanda Williams for the Board of Supervisors. Thanks to everyone who participated in the process. We will do all the formal notices so that you have something on file as soon as we get the opportunity, but congratulations, both of you, and thanks to our other candidates who participated.
I got part of that, but I think it's good news.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're endorsed by the.
Congratulations, Wanda. Good work, you guys.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Wanda.
You too, Sharon. Congratulations. And thank you all so much for your vote of confidence. Now let's go and turn District 3 blue.
Hell yeah.
Do this. Thank you.
Thank you, folks.
I'm honored. And
very honored.
Do great things, Miss Henry.
Yes, with the community behind me and my staff. It's I look forward to June 7th. Super excited.
You're both needed.
Don't be a stranger now, you hear?
I love that. I will not be a stranger. Thank you.
Great. Okay, thank you.
Good night.
Get our endorsement and good night. Thank you for coming, candidates.
well, I'm sticking around.
Oh, yes, well,
I'm an alternate.
I have my 15-year-old who always, as most of you know, is always hungry, so I have to go feed him.
Yes.
So good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night.
Night. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And we are having our most of our meeting where we've had written reports, but we have one more item of new business. Susan George from the Legislation Committee has some recommendations.
Thank you, Chair Olson. Great things are happening tonight, so let's continue with them. There are two items that we're bringing before you. I'm speaking on behalf of the Legislative Ad Hoc Committee, and our committee voted overwhelmingly to support these two items. We had some questions and they were diligently answered, so that we've done a very good review, and hopefully everyone has received the information that was sent in advance. The first item for consideration is endorsement of Senate Bill 1014. And for that, we have with us tonight to give a very brief overview and also to answer any questions that might come up. That is Doug Jones. He's SEIU UHW staff, and he's here with us tonight. So I'd like to, Madam Chair, I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Jones for a bit.
Okay, and if people have questions, I'd like you to put them in the chat and the vice chairs will read those too. So we don't have everyone shouting out. Thank you.
Fantastic. I appreciate the Central Committee giving us time and the Legislation Committee for its attention to this issue and its recommendation that the Central Committee vote to authorize the county party to send a letter to the legislature supporting Senate Bill 1014. So the Democratic Party wants healthcare reform. Many people want single payer. Many people are supporting the governor's current philosophy of proposals, but we all want to see the healthcare system improve. One of the things that's going to be really important in terms of us getting to a place where whatever reforms we create are going to be successful, we're going to have to do a better job of supporting the clinic systems in the state of California. Right now, we have a healthcare system that is made up of haves and have-nots. Hospital systems are doing very well financially. They get great reimbursements. They have a lot of market leverage. Meanwhile, the community clinic systems are left to deal highly disproportionately with the Medi-Cal and uninsured population. Fortunately, the uninsured population is greatly reduced, but the Medi-Cal population is greatly increased in recent years. So their reimbursement rates are so low that it makes it difficult for community health clinics to offer the number of services that many of the communities need, and most importantly, to provide the compensation for good qualified healthcare workers so that they can staff their clinics with well-qualified healthcare workers. So it leaves the clinics constantly behind. And we're not going to have an affordable healthcare system if we're driving people towards hospitals and the best healthcare workers constantly towards hospitals. We need to support our clinic systems better. And so what this bill proposes to do is provide with state and then federal matching funds up to $1 billion to support our community clinics in the state of California and to create some accountability measures to make sure that those clinics will be able to recruit and retain the best workers. So I'm ready to receive any questions you might have about the bill. A bill that is, by the way, supported by SEIU California, and we feel very confident it's on its way to being supported by the California Labor Federation. Both the Contra Costa and the Napa County Democratic parties have written support letters to the state legislature on this bill in the last 2 weeks.
Madam Chair, if I could have a point of information from you and the parliamentarian, how much time do we have for discussion? Susan,
maybe 2 minutes. Since we didn't discuss this ahead.
2 minutes is reasonable.
Okay. Right.
So there is a comment in the chat. Yes to this, clinics need our financial support. Okay, sorry. So Monica Brown's in support of this legislation.
There's a hand up as well.
Annette Henley's hand is up that I see.
Lynette?
Thank you. Doug, I didn't have any questions for you. I had a question for the chair of the committee. Are you asking us to write a letter, or are you asking us to support, to send to the CADEM, to the state party to be part of the legislative committee's deliberations?
I can read you what the motion, I can do it now if you'd like, unless anyone has any other questions, I'd be happy to read what the motion is going to be, so you'll know exactly.
Can I paste the motion into chat, because I did have to wordsmith this slightly to take out some stuff because Zoom has a character limit.
The motion that should be before us is support sent to the legislation. It doesn't need to have a whole bunch of everything in it. Okay.
It's a letter. We have the pro forma letter, and it's very specifically stated, and we have that letter. So it is. It's written for us, and it's all done. We've done in consultation with Doug.
Madam Chair, I have a question.
Yes.
Margie. So the motion is to support the letter, and then you're going to read the letter.
Motion is to endorse a letter that I would sign and send to the state legislative leaders.
Okay.
So, and we all got a copy of this letter.
That's what I thought. Okay.
And the copy of the motion.
And a copy of the motion.
Okay. So thank you for the information. I would like to move directly to the motion.
So I think we can move to the motion. It's moved by the chair of the committee and seconded by Lynette.
It's moved on behalf of the committee, and it doesn't need a second because it's coming from a committee. I just want to go to vote. That's all.
And I think the information officer is ready with the poll.
And just again, to reiterate, Susan, I had to wordsmith it, but I think I got everything. I had to take out some of the middle because Zoom unfortunately has a limit on the number of words, but I think if you read in the chat, the intent is there and everything else, the major parts.
Yes, thank you.
15 seconds. And we're at time.
Okay, and the results?
Yay.
Yay, the motion has passed. So we'll be sending the letter. Thank you, Susan. Was there more from your committee?
Yes, there is one more item. This is the Living Wage Act of 2022. And the materials were provided to everyone in advance. I'm happy to go directly to the motion unless people would like me to give a quick overview of this ballot measure.
I think you can go straight to the motion.
Great.
Comes the poll. Twenty seconds left to vote. And that is time. Yay.
Motion has passed to endorse Living Wage Act. Thank you, Legislative Committee, and Susan George, Chair.
Madam Chair, may I make a couple of very brief comments?
Okay.
Thank you. I just wanted people to know that since this is a ballot measure, there's what aside from what we voted on as the motion, there are other ways that you can support this, and I'll make sure that this goes to Jeanette so everyone can know the ways that you can also support this, including getting signatures for it. Thank you again. Thank you for the thank you to the committee especially.
Okay, thank you. Moving on, we have public comment. I don't know if there's anyone who is wishing to make a public comment.
Monica Brown's hand is up, Madam Chair.
Monica, would you like to make a public comment?
If you want to go to one person and come right back, I'm pulling it up on the email. Give me 1 second. Here we go. I got it. All right. We sent out an emergency email to, can everybody hear me okay? We sent out an emergency email today because Friday, March 31st is the last day that if you need to apply for your unpaid rent due to COVID-19, it has to be Friday. That's a week from, today's what, Wednesday? That's a week from this. No, it's a week from tomorrow. Sorry, my bad. Week from tomorrow. The county's eviction moratorium will remain in place 90 days after the state emergency order is lifted. Thank God Gavin Newsom has not done that. This does not mean evictions cannot take place. What it means is that there are limited protections against evicting tenants based on non-payment of rent due to COVID-19. The county has a contract with the courts. We've hired a staff to help tenants and landlords. If you need that information, the phone number, I can put it in the chat, but where I'm going with it is that we have a week from tomorrow. If you know anybody, please, please, please email our office or if you get the newsletter, please pass it forward. I think only 16% of the people who have applied for money have even gotten the money. So if you know anybody, please. So thank you guys. I just wanted to have time to share that because we just got the information today as a reminder. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. Any other public comment? Or announcements from the committee members?
I don't see any hands right now, Madam Chair.
Okay, good. And well, I think everyone, thank you very much for doing a great job of sending in reports. Yeah, I guess we don't need that clock now. And we do have one more item, old business. It's a fundraiser, and for Neil.
Sorry, Madam Chair, did you close public comment?
Public comment is closed, and we are moving on. We are moving to old business, and Vernil had a little bit of information about fundraisers.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to share that Jim Hardwick and Rick Wright, they submitted a very detailed proposal for a outdoor fundraiser at, what is it, Peanut Adobe, a chili cook-off. And I would like to turn this over to Jim, since this is his vision, if I may, Chair.
Okay. Jim, do you want to say a few words about it?
Yes. Apparently Rick had proposed this sometime before, early in COVID, and we had to table it at that time. His idea came from some other, I think it was in Contra Costa County. There was one of the legislators there that used to have a chili cook-off like this every year. And that was where he got the idea. So I started asking him, okay, what are the things we got to do? I've never done anything like this before. So I took the things he told me and I put them into an outline, and that's what I sent to Vernil and I think a few other people. I haven't done any more with it since then. It sounds to me like it's quite a big task to put this together. And I don't, we haven't even reserved a place or anything like that yet. So if this is something, I guess if it's something we all decide we want to get behind and do, it's going to take a lot of us to do it.
Madam Chair, if I may, I would like to maybe at the next meeting, because we're looking at August as a proposed date. If I can, at the next meeting, if I can put the outline proposal in writing and submit it to the committee for a vote.
Okay, so we'll be hearing more about this at our next meeting.
Yes.
Thanks, Jim, and thanks to Vernil. So
My pleasure.
So that we're at the end of the meeting. Everyone, don't forget to vote at the special election on April 5th. And is there a motion?
I moved to adjourn. And great job to the endorsement committee. Commendations to them. Excellent job.
Excellent. Smooth.
Like to second that.
So it's
before we adjourn,
it's moved in a second that we adjourn and that we compliment the endorsement committee.
Kevin McNamara posted something about Ukraine in the chat.
Yes.
All right, before we adjourn, a moment of silence for the people of Ukraine.
Thank you.
We are adjourned.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Night. Thanks, Marty.
Good night, everyone. Thank you again for your support. This is Wanda. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.